My name is Gregory Springer. I'm 34, almost 35. I really enjoy baking and old school video games and researching and obviously sleeping because everyone needs a good night rest. At the height of my weight, I was around 400. I went to my doctor's office. I think I had already known for the longest time it was like 250 in high school. And then in college, I was probably around 260, 275. Now, going back to school as a non-traditional student at the age of 26, going back for my third bachelor's degree, takes a toll on you a little bit. I think I geared some of my stress towards eating and eventually got to a higher weight. So what I was told myself was I was at 300 or 325, which is not always good, but I was being a little tough on myself. And I went to my doctors after graduating and just kind of routine check. And they said, "Oh, you're at 375." And I said, "Whoa, that's not a number I thought I was going to be at." And I went back probably a couple months later and they said, you're at 400. And I said, well, I don't really want 400 on my chart. Is there any way we can? She's like, well, your clothes takes off 2 to 3 pounds. I'm like, great. So I think on my chart I'm like 397, which is good, but not good at the same time. It was a little like perk for me to have that notched down. But in that moment, I was like, you know what? I need to change. I need to adjust my own settings, and I started working out. I started to not necessarily watch what I was eating, but just be a little more cognizant of it. And so I was at 397, roughly 400 pounds, and started working out probably once or twice a week. Just kind of get blood flowing. I wasn't really pushing myself, but in about, I think it was 3 to 4 months, I lost about 20 pounds. Now, again, like didn't really have goals, I had the ultimate goal, like, I want to lose weight, but I didn't really have any goals. I didn't have any progress. I didn't have much outlining how to be successful. And I lost 20 pounds, so I got down to 380. And the person I was working with needed to adjust their own progress in their own life, which is completely understandable. So at that moment, I was looking for other people to work with and noticed that Max Gusnoff was working with other people. And I noticed the changes that those people had made in their own progress, such as their, I think Max Gusnoff made a inspiration post or of someone who had been this weight and then they changed to this weight. And I was honestly kind of inspired by it. So hit up Goosenoff. And yes, and Goosenoff is um, he can be tough at times, but he means the very best. And I know him in college. So I knew his personality before in college, and then now working with him, having the opportunity to work with him afterwards, I had those preconceived notions of what he was, but honestly, being able to work with him and him adjusting my preconceived notions to what his style and lifestyle is now, complete 100% change and shift in direction. And honestly, that's what made it kind of easy to work with Max Gusnoff. So we chatted for, I would say, an hour. It was a good hour breakdown of what my goals were versus what he can provide. We started, I think, September, October of 2024.
What was the exact result you achieved and in what time frame?
My transformation period was about 18 months. I started working with Max around when I was around 380. And I think with Max, I lost 160 pounds. And it's it's been great.
Did you have any oh fuck moments when you were at the heaviest weight you were at, or were like, oh, I need to make a change?
I think my oh fuck moment was stepping on the scale at 400 pounds, and that was the moments where I needed to change because I can't be 400 pounds. And again, it's the preconceived notion that I was 250 for the longest time, or 275 or 300. And even at 300, it's okay, this is manageable. But when you haven't stepped on the scale for a long period of time and the scale says 400, it's a oh fuck moment. And I just knew I had to change. And whatever it took to get there, whatever steps with or without the people and support that I had, I just knew I had to get to a lower weight.
What was it like at 380 to 400 pounds in terms of how you felt day to day, and what were you trying to lose along with the weight?
So previously, like I had the preconceived notion that I could do anything. I was a 250 pounds in high school and college. I always told myself I was 325, which still meant that I could do things. But honestly, being at 397 for 400 pounds, you're only lying to yourself of what you can do versus what you're capable of doing. Like I wanted to run marathons. There's no way I can run marathons, but I really found hiking as kind of an outlet of what I could do alternative to like running per se. But at 397, 380, even 350, hiking is still very strenuous and takes a lot out of you. And I just wanted to know that I could hike more consistently, stronger, and go further at a lower weight, thus ultimately having a healthy mentality and longevity for the future of my life.
What were you worried about health wise in the future, like around the corner or in 5 years or 10 years?
I know that I had health scares and I went to the hospital for different things. And what I was always told in the hospital was you just need to get up and get going so that it shows that you have progressed to being healed essentially. And I knew that if I continued to maintain the weight and I had to go to the hospital, I would be in the hospital for a longer period of time. And I didn't want that.
What were you struggling with behind closed doors?
This might sound weird, but I think one of the struggles I was struggling with behind closed doors was just bathing and being clean. I think it's the ability to wash yourself, which sounds really fucking easy. But you know, when you can't bend in the shower the correct way, or you can't reach the nooks and crannies that you need to be reaching, um, and you don't realize it for a long time, that's a struggle, man. Again, losing weight is not 100%. It's going to happen overnight. You're not going to drop 100 pounds, but knowing that you can lose 20 pounds and then you can bend that way, or you can stretch that way, or you can reach those nooks and crannies. Again, over time, felt good that I could get to those areas, if that makes sense.
What did you see when you looked in the mirror when you were at 380, 400 pounds?
The mirror was not my friend. It was kind of a foe. And I didn't want to see myself in that raw image of being um, who I was representing at that time. And it was probably halfway through the journey that when I started looking in the mirror, I was like, oh, I can see. It sounds stupid, but like I can see my neck, or I can see like if I like do this, it's like I can see these things. Like that's like one of my favorite things right now. But it's seeing those minimal changes and adjustments to be happier. I know happier is like a loose connotation, but I mean that's what we all need is to be happier. It feels good to look in the mirror and say, you know what, that's me.
What was holding you back before you started, or was it just a clear, yeah, no, 100%, let's do this, no questions asked?
I think the reservation was trusting the person enough to work with them and going through the motions to achieve not only your goals, but also whatever goals that Max had in mind, which was an adjustment at first, but eventually we were able to meet on the same level and work together.
What was the thing you initially wanted the most out of the program?
I have it written down, is to eat healthier or recognize it. And I think what I kept telling myself and telling other people is people will ask me, like, well, why? Why are you doing this? And my main goal was to be a healthier me and promote a more healthier version of myself so that if I was at 400 pounds still, then my life longevity might not be as prolonged versus now at 225, 220. Um, I have the ability to not only keep going, but have a longer life longevity and trajectory of what I can or who I can become, which I think that's just the main goal. And I projected that I would live again, my old weight, that I would live up to like 70, which is a good life still. Don't get me wrong. Um, but being at 220, like I could be 100, and I foresee it happening now.
Was there a moment where it finally started clicking for you?
Honestly, it's just routine. That's kind of one of those big adjustments that it's not really talked about. My typical week was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday was gym. Wednesday I had personal obligation. On Thursday night after the gym, I would go to the grocery store and do my grocery shop. And then Friday, I would do my laundry and meal prep for the week. And then Saturday and Sunday, if there's any lingering meal prep, I would do it then. And then Saturday, Sunday is obviously the weekend to relax and catch up on things that I may have missed. But I was not that rigid in my weekly schedule, and that was an adjustment in and of its own. But now it's just like that's who I am, that's how I work, that's how I operate. And a habit doesn't happen overnight, it happens over the course of time. So, was my week to week to week habit the same? No, it was not the same, but it takes adjustments. You tweak things, you adjust things, and eventually it becomes the optimal schedule and habit that I needed, which works for me now.
What's been your biggest mindset shift since you started working with me?
The biggest mindset shift is probably that I can and I do. It sounds simple enough, but it's like if I have free time and I have the ability to work out or just go run or walk or like I don't have to worry about oh, I'm gonna be tired or I can't do this. It's like no, I can. I have the ability to do it and I can do it without worry, which is a fantastic feeling.
Tell me your biggest wins so far. Scale, strength, energy, confidence, anything.
I think one of the biggest wins is seeing muscular growth, which is again, I know I talked about the mirror, but like seeing biceps, which I'm not trying to go to a bodybuilding show, but it's like, hey, that muscle's been under this fat or under this skin for quite some time now, and I'm now seeing some progression. It's just seeing the little things that have always been there, but I didn't know were there until I put in the work to put in the effort to get to where I am now. That's something I think kind of special and kind of cool.
What's it like hiking now versus initially when you initially tried?
I mean,
Sure.
hiking now is, I mean, it's easier. I don't have to worry about potentially injuring myself. It honestly just easier is like the best way I can sum it up because I have the ability to go further and I'm not carrying 100 to 150 pounds of excess weight that I don't have anymore.
How did clothes fit before versus now?
So clothes is something still learning how to wear clothes. So when I look at my photos of my past, and I was at a 4XL tall shirt, and I think now I'm around a 2XL tall shirt. It's two X's, yeah, of lower sizes. I think honestly, my one of my favorite things, which I don't like to splurge. I'm a homebody. I like to wear casual things, and Kohl's was fantastic, and using that Kohl's cash. But honestly, when I was back home, and I was like, you know what, everyone needs underwear, and like, yes, underwear is its own beast of a process, but I went home and I was going to Kohl's and I was just honestly just trying underwear to see what worked best for me or what didn't. For the longest time, I was at a 2X underwear boxers, and I'm now in a large like boxer brief, which I don't know why, but it feels good to know that I'm at a lower, I'm comfortable in that size, which again is sounds stupid, but this just made me happy.
What was it like taking pictures now versus before?
Good, because I can present who I am and who the true version of myself is after the roughly 2 years of progress to get to where I am. I'm at the lowest weight I've ever been. I think high school I was around 250. My first college I was around 260, probably 275. I had to kind of cap it out. And then being at my second school, capped out around 350, 400 pounds. I don't have a number, but knowing that I'm at 225 now and they're not they're not wrapping their hands around another half of a person because I'm smaller. I'm skinny. Feels pretty good.
How has getting from 380 to 220 affected your confidence, relationships, work, just any part of life?
So part of it was an adjustment from what I knew to what I know now. So like for example, being at 380, 400 pounds, that limits to what you can do, how you present yourself, how you appear to the public eye. But being at 225, 220 now, it's like I'm attractive. I look good. And people are noticing me, which is again something I'm not used to, but have the ability to get used to and learn, oh, they're talking to me, which that's what I enjoy. Having people say like, "Oh, who the cute man?" Like, but that's me, and still it's an adjustment. But I'm happy to have gotten to this point.
What do you see when you look in the mirror now?
Skinny. No, I see obviously the mirror is its own beast and we all see the different flaws that we have. On the flip side of things, you can see the changes that you expected to see and being able to see a reflection of myself that I made these changes and I worked for these changes feels pretty fucking good.
What does it feel like to have people comment on your progress?
It feels great. Knowing that I had a preconceived notion of being the fat friend or being the big guy in the group. It's there. Um, but knowing that I don't have to be that variable anymore, I can just be the normal, uh, what's typically expected of my friend groups or being out in public. I'm not judged for my size. I can just be who I want, and that kind of feels good to not have the judgment being shined on you, and also being able to live my life to the fullest. So I work with a local fraternity organization. I think what's been kind of nice is I see them fairly frequently, but when I don't, I have those moments of taking a month or two off and then going back to them because they're in school, obviously. Going back to them and saying, "Hey, I lost 20 pounds," or "I lost 10 pounds," or whatever the case is. And like the fact that they provide that feedback and say, "Whoa, Springer, you look great," or "You lost weight," or "You look different," and like it's like, okay, I'm doing something right, and I'm
Yeah.
changing myself so that I look good, which I think that's one of the main goals. But the fact that having one-on-one sessions with Max, like Max, every time was like, "You look great," or like, "You look skinny," or I see it in your face," or I'm like that, and that's great, and it's different because I'm paying Max to essentially give me compliments. No, that's not the main goal. It's not the goal at all. But going out in public, and sure, there's dating aspects, but there's also the social aspect of things. And by being with this fraternity organization, and they're like, "Hey, you look good," it's like, okay, well, I didn't pay them for that testimonial, and I'm not asking or fishing for compliments, but like I'm doing the work to showcase to them what I can do, but it's giving me that confidence that, hey, I'm doing the right things.
So you used to kind of feel like the fat friend and now you don't?
Yeah, yeah. I was the fat friend. I feel like I am not the fat friend anymore. And I'm the average guy, but average good looking guy, uh,
Right.
that can still progress to better and good opportunities.
Do you have any moments that you stop and think like, holy shit, I did it?
The biggest one I can say is seeing people after a long period of time. For example, when I was at the start of my weight progress in December 2024, I think I was around 360, 350. And going home this past winter season, December 2025, I was around, I would say 240-ish. And again, I'm down 100 pounds. And seeing people from before to now and knowing what they're seeing in me is fantastic. And knowing that they're seeing the changes that I've put in, because the day-to-day basis of me going to the, let's say, grocery store cashier, sure, they might see exponential changes, but seeing a drop in 100 pounds, that's fantastic, and that they're seeing those differences. Or even the fraternal organization, it's seeing them after 2 month break and they're seeing the differences. I think it's that realization that, I put in the effort and put in the power to get to what I have achieved and what I'm showcasing and what I'm putting out onto the street.
How does it feel to have made such an incredible transformation? Because 400 to 220 is that's very rarely successfully done, and you've maintained it. How does it feel?
Good. I mean, I I love baking. That's one of my favorite hobbies. And trust me, I can bake for the army and bake thousands upon thousands of cookies, but it's the I want to maintain my life longevity and I need to have self-restraint to sure, I can have a cookie. Don't get me wrong. You can have that cookie, but you can't have five. You can't have 10. You can have one or two and still feel good about yourself that I'm still doing what I enjoy, what I do, which is baking. And then I can have a cookie or two. But it's nice to know that I've achieved what I've achieved and still have the power and prowess to continue on that journey, to continue to lose weight, become a better me, become a healthier me, and ultimately just continue to promote success in my life for better opportunities.
If someone's watching this and they feel how you used to feel, what would you tell them?
It's kind of how Max worded it to me is what's stopping you? And honestly, just go for it. Because again, what's stopping you? And then assess what the reasons are for what is stopping you. Is that monetary? Is that physicality? Is that mentality, psychology? Like what aspect? And then delve into why those are the reasons for each of those categories or whatever categories they may be. Once you've assessed those and can have the ability to overtake and overcome each of those categories, as long as you're meeting those goals, then just do it, Nike. But just go for it. Like there's nothing stopping you but yourself.
What would you say to the version of you who didn't join?
A version of me that didn't join would still be trying to find a gym, trying to find a program, trying to find someone that they trust and enjoy, but also meets their goals and fitness potential. And I think without that, if I didn't find Max, then um, I would still be searching.
Someone's sitting on the fence about working with me. What would you tell them?
I would say Max can be an asshole, but at the same time, Max is a sweetheart and knows how to work with people and meet to their goals, get on their level, and takes the opportunity to get to know people for who they are, not their body weight, not their size, not their shape. Max wants the best for you. For example, if you have a meeting scheduled and you can't be there at that time, Max will find the opportunity to meet the next day. It might screw his schedule over, but Max truly wants the best opportunity for you to be the better version of you. And that's honestly like one of the main aspects of Max that made me want to work with him. And he's a great guy. So